Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello everyone. Today I'm going to share with you this pop-up panel card, bridge fold card and C-fold card. And I'm making them using this Winter Wonder snowman. It's a set of 6 pages of digital downloads by Hell's Couple Ditch. And I got these from Hell's a couple of days ago and I was just delighted with the colours that were in this and the imagery. I think they're so cute, this little snowman with his little bird. So we get some round die cuts and some rectangular and square die cuts. And the colour theme is a lovely blues and pinks and greens. It's not your traditional Christmas colours, but I love this. I love these tones. So we have a couple of die cuts that you have there. We have some beautiful blue snowflake paper and some more die cuts, as well as some sentiments, some lovely snowflakes that you can cut out, and some banners. That's those strips of colourful pieces across the top. So these are the 6 pages that I download, and I'll have a link below to Helen's Etsy shop. So I'm starting with my first card, and it's a bridge fold card. This is a 7 by 7 piece of card, and I'm scoring at 1, 2, 5 and 6. Now, because some of these folds will be valley folds and mountain folds, what I'm going to do is flip it over and score it again at 1, 2, 5 and 6. Now score the whole way down. I'm just scoring a little bit for the purposes of the video. So our first fold is a mountain fold, which then gives us a valley underneath it. And then to the right, we're going to give another mountain fold, which will give a valley underneath it. So I'm bringing the sides into the center. So that's the fold of our card, and this is what's going to give us the bridge fold card. So we need our little pieces now to bridge across from the left to the right, as well as for the insert in the middle. This is a lovely little snowman with a bird, and he measures 4.5 by 2 3/4. Now that's what I've cut it down to. This strip is 2 3/4 by 6 3/4, and it's going to sit in the middle behind it. And then this strip is the same size, 6 3/4 by 2 3/4, and it's going to sit on the back with our sentiment. I've cut out 2 of these colourful strips, and they're 6 3/4 by 3/4 of an inch. And they're going to run along the sides on the left and right of our card. This little strip of snowflakes I'm going to put on the back, and this is 2 5/8 by 1/2. And that'll sit at the bottom there on our white piece that will have our sentiment on the back. So that's all our pieces cut from the digital download. I'm going to move my scoreboard out of the way. And next, what I want to share with you is, you can see these snowflakes here to my right. These snowflakes come from a fantastic die that I got from Crafty. It's called Bright Rosa, and this is the Snowflake Border Die. And you get some individual dies that cut out snowflakes, as well as a border of snowflakes and some little round circles. There's 3 of them. So I've cut out some of the individual snowflakes as well as this border snowflake. Now there are 2 in this snowflake set, but I'm going to use the border ones. So I have my snowflakes here, and what I've done is I've taken some acetate. Now you can use acetate from packaging or whatever you like, but I have got some sheets of acetate, and I've cut them into little strips measuring 1/4 inch wide. So I have some of my snowflakes here ready with the acetate on, and I've used some of the red tape. It's a really strong sticky adhesive tape to stick my snowflakes onto my acetate. I've also taken some of my Nuvo Glue and dotted it around all of the snowflakes. Then what I've done is I've got some really fine Glitter. The glitter I have is a DOCRAFTS fine glitter, and it's an iridescent one, and I'm showing you here how I sprinkled it on the glue and allowed it to dry in. Okay, so now I'm going to speed everything up because this video, because we're making 3 cards, is going to take just under 30 minutes. So I hope you have a nice cup of tea or coffee and you're sitting down and enjoying the video. I'm going to take the colourful strips and put them to each side on the left and right of my card, as well as our lovely blue, white and green snowflake panel. Then on the back I'm going to put my little strip of snowflakes along the bottom with my Nuvo Glue. Now this set that I'm showing you is one that I got in a magazine, and I'm using it because of the Merry Christmas sentiment. I love getting crafting magazines. I find they're great for getting dies and stamps and embossing folders, as well as papers that you can use for your cards, and great ideas with some fantastic creative people. So I've put my Merry Christmas on the back white piece of paper or card, and I'm going to stick that on later. I'm just leaving my ink to dry. So in the meantime, I've taken my lovely little image of my snowman and the little bird, and I've put some tape along the right hand side and left hand side, and I'm going to stick that down onto my edge panels. Now I've pressed down on the left side so it sits against the middle. That way it can open and close to either side. So now I've got my snowflakes, and I'm again using some of my very slim, this is I think about 1/4 of an inch wide, and I'm going to put that along the bottom of my acetate strips. Now I had a look at my acetate strips, and the longest one measures about 4 inches, but although I've cut them all to 4 inches, I'm going to shorten them as I go because I want some of the snowflakes to be higher up than others. So it's just a matter of taste, what you like and how you want to have them dispersed behind our little snowman that says welcome. So I'm just making sure I have all my snowflakes where I want them, and I've fast forwarded, and through the magic of editing, there we go, our snowflakes are all attached. So I'm going to use my Nuvo Glue now to stick my piece of card on the back, and this will give us an area where we can write our sentiment. And that's that card. We're moving on to our second card, which is a Z-fold card. And a Z-fold card, you can score the actual card base to make it a Z-fold, or you can put a strip across the bottom, and that's what I've done. I have all my bits and pieces here ready to go, and I'm going to start with this blank scalloped edged card base, 6 by 6 card base. So you can get a piece of card measuring 12 by 6 and score it at 6, and you'll have the same size. But I love the scalloped edge ones. I think they're really, really nice. So I have some mats and layers to go on the front, as well as the sentiment, and I've die cut out that little snowman using one of the round dies from my stash. This blue mat is 5.5 by 5.5, and then I have this lovely paper that came in the digital download, and that's 5.25 by 5.25. This round image of the snowman with the little bird on his paw or his hand, I die cut out using a die that cuts it out to a piece of 4 inches wide. And then I have this lovely sentiment strip which I just cut out as well. So now we're moving to the inside of the card, and I'm going to put some mats on layers on both the left and the right hand side. I have this blue matte layer which measures 5.5 by 5.5. And then I'm going to take this, again, the snowman image, and I have this die cut out to 5 by 5. And then we're going to move over to the right hand side. Now I have my mats and layers for this side as well as some cutouts that I have taken from the digital downloads. Our first matte, blue mat, is 5.5 by 5.5. And then we're going to sit this white piece on top which measures 5.25 by 5.25, and this is going to give us some place to put our sentiment. I have this colourful strip as well, and this I cut from the downloads, and it reminds me of his scarf, I have the snowman little head and bird, and these were on a bottom corner of the download papers, so I cut them out too. I have this blue strip here, which is 1¼ inches wide by 11½ inches long, and this is going to make the Z part of our card down at the bottom. So what I've done is I've scored it at 6 as well as at 3 and at 9, and I have folded it so I have a mountain, a valley and a mountain fold, and that'll sit on our card just like that. I love this idea, I think it's very cute. So now the next thing I have is this piece of lace, and this came in one of the card kits I got in October, and I thought this would be really cool to put along the strip. Now I have some double-sided tape along the back that will stick that down, and I'm going to curl the edges behind the blue card. I've put some tape behind there to hold that as well, and then I can sit them on my card. I'm going to use my EK Success powder tool once the lace is down, and that'll take the sticky off the front where the lace is. Here I have a stamp and die set that I got in a magazine, I can't remember which, but I'm going to use From Our Home to Yours, and this is one long sentiment. But I have taken it and I have cut it apart so it reads From Our Home and then to yours. So I'm going to put it on our piece of card here. I'm going to have the snowman down there, and I'll probably put the bird somewhere around there. That'll give me room then to put the sentiment up here, and I can put the name of who it's going to and who the card is from. So I might actually sit the little bird on top of the from there. I don't know, I'll wait and see when I'm stamping it out. Once it's down, I can decide where I want those little pieces. Now I have 2 stars left from my previous card, and I have them on hand at the desk. I may or I may not use them. So let's speed things back up now and put our mats and layers together and stick them down on the card. So I'm going to start with my blue mat for the front of the card, and I'm using my Nuvo Glue to stick that down. It gives me a little bit of wiggle room to make sure I get my borders even on each side. I'm coming to the end of my 3M foam tape. I purchased this from the Love from Lizzie website last year, and it's about a year ago when I purchased it. It's expensive, let's not kid ourselves here. You can get foam tape for half the price on Amazon and all those other crafty places that you can purchase. But I have to say, the 3M foam tape, if I put that down on the paper and I don't press down, it gives me room to lift it back up. But with some of those other foam tapes, once they touch the paper at all, that's it, they're there. There's no going back from it. So I think for the little bit extra that you pay, it's worth it, because I think it is a better product in my opinion, but it's just what I like to use, because sometimes I don't confidently put stuff down with the foam tape, so it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. So I've used the foam tape behind our circular die cut that's going to be on the front of our card. Right, so I've gotten all the other mats and layers done. I'm just going to stamp down my sentiment inside. So like I said, I'm going to have it read From Our Home, and then on the next line it'll say to yours. I'm using some of my VersaFine Onyx black ink. This ink takes a little bit of time to dry, so either flutter it in front of you or blow on it, but just be careful when you're using the VersaFine that you don't smear. That's happened to me on occasion. So I've stuck down that panel, and now I'm going to work on our strip of blue card with our lace. So I want to make sure that that's nicely centered on our strip and it's stuck down. So I've used the EK Success tool, and that just means that the top of the lace isn't sticky. I'm going to curl it around in the ends because I don't want it to fray. And I have some really strong double-sided adhesive tape. I get this from Cork Art Supplies here in Ireland, and this stuff is just fantastic. It's, again, once it's down, but this stuff is brilliant. I know that this strip of blue card isn't going to go anywhere. So I'm just looking at making sure my placement of the strip of blue card is where I want it on the left, and then I'm going to adhere it down on the right. Taken my little snowman and stuck him down, and I'm deciding where I want the bird. I'm going to put him down close to the snowman. Now I'm taking one of my fine liner pens so he can have some legs and feet, so it looks as if he's flying over to the snowman. Now I've taken my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen, and I'm going to use that to give a little bit of sparkle to the front of the card. I've done it on the hat, on the scarf of the snowman, the scarf of the bird, and all that's left to do now is put some of these little dots on. These are by DOCRAFTS and they're lovely. They look like a little drop of rain that's just set down on the card, and it's got a kind of a luminescence behind it. I really like these. They're really cool, and they're not very, fat. They're very slim on the card. So now we're moving on to our next card. This card has our pop-up panel inside, and on the outside I'm using again one of the cut parts, one of the die cuts that you can take out. This is a large one and it's going to go on the outside of the card. So I'm starting with a card base of 5 by 7, and if you're cutting one yourself or making one, you need a card that measures 10 by 7 and score it at 5. I have my mats and layers put together for the front. I'm using this black mat which measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and I have this green sparkle snowflake paper which measures 4 1/2 by 6 1/2, and this paper is from a previous Hell's Couple Ditch paper pack. It's from the 12 by 12 Christmas Village papers by Helen. So I've cut some 3M foam tape on the back. I have this cut apart which measures 4 by 5, and then the snowman piece is 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. I've also taken a strip of pink card. It's an inch wide and however long, but the reason I've taken this is to put the scalloped edge behind, and I have used my punch here. It's an X-cut punch. So you basically just slide it in like that and you punch down, and it gives you a positive and a negative part, and the positive part has the scallops. This is the negative part. It looks a bit like the top of a wave, but I've put that to the left hand side there of that piece, and I've also added it to the strip of black mat which measures 4 3/4 by 1 inch, and the green sparkle paper measures 4 3/4 by 3/4. And then, as I said, I have put again a piece of the pink scalloped edge on that. Now I have this smaller image and it's 3 3/4 by 2 inches, and that's going to go inside my card. This piece is going to pop up as we open the card. Now I'm going to use this little thing here that I've made. I watched a fantastic tutorial by Jennifer McGuire, and I'll put a link up to that. I have these 2 strips of white card and they're 2 1/2 by 1/2 inch, and these are going to make the mechanism. So I have a piece of card which is 1/2 inch wide, and I'm scoring at 1/2 inch, an inch, an inch and a half, and I'm doing that on both of these, scoring at 1/2 inch, an inch and a half, and 2 inches. So it gives us 5 little squares, and what we're going to do is fold them over on the score lines like so, and then I'm just going to make sure that's folded over properly, because we want to make sure that they're folded on the score lines. Then I'm going to fold one side over on the other, so we have this little box. Now I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. One side will fold over the other, just like this. So once you have it folded over, I'm going to show you on the second piece, folding on the score lines, lovely. And then I'm going to put the left tab piece underneath the right tab piece. There you go. And this is going to be our mechanism for our card. Now you can see I have one there to the right, but I decided I would show you how I do this rather than just sending you off to the tutorial. So I'm going to put a little piece of double-sided tape, and this is a good double-sided tape. It's not as strong as the red liner tape that you can see there on my piece on the right, but it works perfectly fine. So I have a little piece of tape on that little square there. I'm going to take off the release paper, which is never easy, and I have broken all my nails over the last 3 weeks. I think I was a little bit run down with Dad being unwell and then him passing, so you'll have to excuse the state of my nails. But once we get the release paper off that little piece of double-sided tape, I'm going to fold the other side over it so it gives us our little cube. And I'm going to press down, making sure that there's no tape on any of the edges. And we're going to do that again to the other side. I'm going to put a little piece of the tape on top of that last little square just before the score line. I'm going to cut it off because I just want it on that little box there, that little square. Again, I'm going to take the release paper off the top. And once I have that done, then I'm going to put the other side on top, just laying it over the top, just like that. And I make it look hard, but I promise it's really, really easy. Then we're going to stick these two little boxes together. And what I do is generally stick them just like that. And again, I'm going to use some of my double-sided tape to put those together. So I'm going to put the tape on the little flap that folded over the other side, just like that. And making sure that it fits nicely, cut it off. Lovely. Just put a bit of pressure on the release part so that it comes off. And then we're going to stick the other little square, cube, I don't know what to call it. I'm going to stick that on, just like that. And with a little bit of pressure, that should stick to each other nicely. Then we're going to press our two little boxes flat. Do you see there the way I just took them and pressed them down onto each other? This is what's going to give us our mechanism. We're going to put some tape on that side and the other, like I've done here. And again, I'm zooming in so I can show you how I put it on the back of our little panel. I don't need my scoreboard, so I'll move that out of the way for you. So I've my little panel there is scored down the center, and we're going to stick our little mechanism onto our little panel. Now where the two boxes meet there in the center, that center line where our two boxes meet there is where we're going to, you can see just there I'm pointing out the center line, that is going to go along our score line there on our piece of card, on our, you know, this is our pop out piece. So I'm going to press that down. So there you can see where the two boxes join in the middle is where it goes over the score line for our piece that we're going to pop up. Lovely. Okay, so now I'm speeding you back up. I'm speeding you back up and zooming back out, and we're going to put our card together. So I have my front mat and layer. I'm going to stick that down. Then we're going to take our large panel that's going to go on the front of the card. I've taken all the release paper off the 3M foam tape and sticking that down. Now I've only one piece of this here for the bottom right hand side, but we're going to need two because otherwise it's going to look unbalanced, and I'm only going to realize that when I come to the part after I've this mechanism stuck down. Now I've fast forwarded through that, so I'm going to slow down and show you how I've done that here. I'm going to actually zoom in and I'm going to show you exactly how I have put the mechanism now to the score line that is in our card. There you go. So with the mechanism up against the score line, we then close over our card, and voila, there we go. There's our little pop-up centerpiece. Now you can see with that piece at the bottom right hand side, it looks unbalanced, So I'm going to place the second piece to the left hand side. And then I think that gives better balance. It allows then the gap in the middle for our fold for the card to sit much nicer. So I'm going to put some of the Sparkle Noir pen on the front of our card. I've also got these lovely little teeny tiny DOCRAFTS sequins. I'm going to put them on the eyes of our snowman and our little bird. And I'm going to take some of those little water drops or dew drops or whatever you want to call them, little embellishments, and I'm going to put them in the center of our snowflakes dotted around the front panel. Now I'm delighted with that. I just want to use a sentiment for inside the card. So again, I have another stamp and die set that I got from a magazine, and the magazine that I got this from is from Simplycards and Papercrafts issue 197. And that magazine came with an embossing folder, a die set and a stamp set, and you just got a glimpse of it there to the left. I'm using the From Our Home to Yours, and it just didn't stamp perfectly because of the foam tape on the front of the card, but I just took a fine liner black pen and touched that up. So there we go folks, there's our 3 cards, our lovely pop-up inside panel card, our bridge fold card and our Z fold card. I really enjoyed using the digital downloads by Hell's Couple Ditch. Helen, I love the work you do, your illustrations are just beautiful, and I hope I have done you proud with these 3 cards that I've made. Here's some images of the cards we've made. If you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking the thumbs up button to give my video a like. And if you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing, and if not, you might click on the subscribe button down below and hit the bell so that you get notifications when I post a video. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. And I'd like to say thank you once again for watching my video, and until next time, bye bye.